China's President Xi Jinping says he will prioritise ties with Russia on the second day of his state visit to Moscow. Mass protests in Paris and other cities across France after the government narrowly survives 2 votes of no confidence. Great neighbouring powers and strategic partners. That's how China's President Xi Jinping described relations with Russia on the second day of his state visit to Moscow. Xi met with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin for formal talks on Tuesday. Beijing says the 2 leaders have discussed China's 12-point peace plan for Ukraine, a proposal the Kremlin has supposedly welcomed. China has sought to portray itself as a neutral party in the conflict, but Washington says the trip simply provides diplomatic cover for Putin. Earlier, Xi met Russia's Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin. The Chinese leader announced that he has extended an invitation to Putin to visit China later this year for a top-level meeting on China's One Belt, One Road regional initiative, which seeks to extend Beijing's influence through economic cooperation projects. There have been more protests in Paris and other cities across France after the government narrowly survived 2 votes of no confidence. They had been triggered when Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne used a special constitutional power called Article 49, Section 3, to push through a bill to increase the pension age to 64.
Il y a énormément de jeunes, mais parce qu'on pense que c'est un sujet qui ne nous concerne pas, mais alors qu'en fait, justement, si aujourd'hui nos grands-parents ils vont devoir arrêter tout à fait tard, nous, on sait que ce sera pire, puisque en gros, c'est le chemin qu'on prend depuis une vingtaine d'années, avec des politiques de plus en plus libérales et qui répondent au capitalisme, alors que nous, on décide que c'est le peuple qui compte avant tout.
Et c'est trop important parce qu'on s'est foutu de nous, on ne voit pas l'avenir. Et le peu d'avenir qu'on peut entreapercevoir avec les droits sociaux qu'on avait avant, qui sont en train d'être cassés, on nous l'enlève. C'est pour ça qu'on est là.
Voilà, c'est la radicalité du mouvement qui fera plier la chose et Macron a ouvert une brèche qu'il n'est pas prêt de refermer en tout cas.
Over 100 people were arrested in Paris after a standoff with the police. President Emmanuel Macron says France's ageing population makes the current pension scheme unaffordable. The bill is now expected to pass into law, but tensions are likely to continue on the streets of France, with a major day of strike action and protests planned for Thursday.
The city of New York is stepping up security outside the Manhattan District Attorney's office, where former President Donald Trump could possibly appear for an indictment. A probe into allegations that Trump used party money to silence porn star Stormy Daniels over an alleged affair is wrapping up. Trump himself said he expects to be charged soon. New York's mayor was asked when this might happen.
The DA is going to make that determination, and we're doing what we always do. We're monitoring comments on social media, and the NYPD is doing their normal role of making sure that there's no inappropriate actions in the city.
At the weekend, Trump said on his own social media platform that he expected to be arrested on Tuesday and urged his supporters to protest, bringing back images of his rallying calls ahead of the January 6th Capitol riots. If Trump is indicted, he will be the first former president to face criminal charges. At the center of the case is Stormy Daniels and how Trump reimbursed his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, after he paid Daniels $130,000 ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Trump is currently at his home in Florida. He has vowed to continue his campaign to become the Republican nominee in the 2024 presidential election, even if he is indicted, and there is nothing the US Constitution can do to stop him.
An independent report deeply damages the image of London's Metropolitan Police. Racism, misogyny and homophobia are deeply entrenched in the UK's largest police force. That's according to the review led by Louise Casey, commissioned in the wake of the abduction, rape and murder of 33-year-old Sarah Everard by a serving officer.
I think the evidence is pretty clear that the Met over polices and under-protects, for example, the black community. If you look at the use of a stop and search, if you look at the use of force, it is disproportionately by a country mile done against black people rather than white people.
The report unpacks disturbing stories about the behaviour of the police. 12% of female officers have been harassed or assaulted at work, but these actions are often covered up or minimised. Minorities are over-surveilled on the streets and are not given sufficient protection. The conclusions are stark. Half of the population distrust the Metropolitan Police, and if nothing changes, motions to disband or split up the force are likely to grow louder.
The first German ministerial visit to Taiwan in over a quarter of a century. It may fly in the face of China's hardline view that the island democracy is its territory, but diplomatic considerations are weighed alongside economic necessity. German industry needs the semiconductor chips that Taiwan makes.
It is completely normal for the officials of two countries to conduct exchanges. And as a free and a democratic country, Taiwan will exercise this right whenever possible in the future.
It is extremely important to my ministry and me to promote cooperation with like-minded partners. This arrangement stands for enhancing cooperation on the basis of democratic values, transparency, openness, reciprocity, and scientific freedom, to only name a few.
The agreement comes after reports Taiwan's TSMC, the world's largest manufacturer of semiconductors, may have plans to build a factory in Germany.
The owners of vehicles equipped with devices to manipulate their emissions, like those used in the so-called Dieselgate scandal, have the right to compensation. That's according to the EU's top court, which ruled in favour of the plaintiff on Tuesday who brought the case against the Mercedes-Benz group. He asked that the German giants compensate him for the damage related to the equipment included in the diesel car he purchased, with an illegal device known as a thermal window or defeat device. They allow for the purification of exhaust pipe gases to be controlled from vehicles in line with the outside temperature, essentially meaning the gas purification system is switched off below around 15 degrees Celsius and leaves gas emissions unfiltered. In a separate decision last July, the court deemed this practice illegal in most cases. Mercedes-Benz reacted to the ruling by explaining that only the damage actually caused to a buyer is relevant, adding that there must be an unlawful defeat device, which is disputed in the present case. Despite referring to just an individual file, the case could end up affecting a large number of motorists. The European Consumer Organisation says that the decision is an important one and confirms that individuals who bought cars equipped with defeat devices are entitled to obtain compensation.
Ukrainian authorities did not directly claim responsibility for the Monday night strike in Jankoy in annexed Crimea, but said it serves for further demilitarize Russia and prepare the Crimean Peninsula for deoccupation. Now, where exactly it happened and why Jankoy is so important, let's take a look. Ukraine's Ministry of Defense said late Monday that the strike destroyed Russian caliber cruise missiles that were being transported by train in the town of Jankoy in Russia-occupied Crimea. Now, two of Russia's most important military airfields in Crimea are located in Jankoy and Gvardiyske, Britain's defense ministry said in 2022. Ukrainian officials have long said that the military airbase near Jankoy and the city itself has been turned into Russia's largest in annexed Crimea. Oleg Krychko, a Moscow-appointed advisor to the Russian-installed head of Crimea, said the drone attack was aimed at civilian targets, claiming, quote, there are no military sites nearby. Now, Jankoy is also a key road and rail junction that plays a very important role in supplying Russia's operations in southern Ukraine, both towards Kherson and Zaporizhia regions and the Azov Sea coast. In general, Jankoy is the key hub for all rail in Crimea, including any supplies from Kerch to Sevastopol, a major naval base for Russia's Black Sea Fleet. Now, some of Russia's most important warships have been docked here, including surface ships equipped with cruise missiles. The Institute for the Study of War previously assessed that Russian forces continue to deplete their missile arsenal and may constrain how often and at what scale to conduct missile strikes, but will likely continue to threaten Ukrainian critical infrastructure and civilians.
Relaxed, chatting about banal things far from the trenches. But on horseback, a group of Ukrainian soldiers relax in a large hippotherapy barn on the outskirts of Kyiv. Since the war began, many of them have had to battle extreme levels of stress and have found riding and contact with horses to be therapeutic.
А мені навпаки, мені сподобалось якесь зовсім інша атмосфера, контакт з тваринами, ти розповідаєш про себе, так ділишся своїми емоціями, переживаннями. І це досить так круто і якби заряджає тебе на майбутнє.
But it's not all about horse riding. The founder of the centre waits for them to relax, to talk to them, to open up to others. They've been through a lot and can struggle to disconnect when they come off the front lines.
Вони дуже багато чого бачили, що могло спричинити їм посттравматичний стресовий розлад. Ми не проводимо тут діагностику, але психоемоційний стан у них дуже складний.
Although horses are the protagonists, there are also dogs and cats on the farm that play a similar therapeutic role, providing a moment of respite before these troops return to the battlefield.